experts believe that engaging the grassroots youths in Africa is crucial to fostering peace building and ending youth restiveness in conflict-afflicted areas. Sarra, Messaoudi, the regional coordinator for MENA Coalition on Youth, Peace and Security, joins me for this discussion. Thank you so much for your time today, Sarra. And it's quite an interesting conversation that has been had over the past 3 days, talking about ensuring resilience in the continent in specific areas, peace, security, and development. And I'd like you to speak to the importance of working as a collaborative network and coalition to achieve this, to solve this problem.
Greetings, everyone. Aslama, I'm so happy to be joining you today from Abidjan. And definitely, I would like to highlight what you've just been saying about the importance of coming as collaborative networks. This can be either network or coalition or task force or a working group, whatever is the form of organization between young people. And that's because currently, we are living really complex issues, sometimes even chaotic issues, and a single approach and single leadership model won't really be sustainable in the face of this. And hence, when young people are coming together in collaboration to have, let's say, a group of individuals, a group of organization, and form a network, for instance, or a coalition, they are sharing really resources, they are sharing knowledge, they are sharing capacity. They're not waiting for funding, but they see what they have as resources, and they try to give that. And also the importance of this, it's to have really non-hierarchy leadership, but it's really a decentralized and shared leadership where everyone feel ownership and everyone feel responsibility to provide things. And hence, in today's world, really the emergence of networks has become vital to advance and to really target the current challenges and the current needs, and to really spark, let's say, this innovation and collaboration. So somehow it has become really a necessity. Even single organization will need to reflect and rethink to have a networked approach within this single organization, or also to join the global movement and global networks so they have stronger advocacy power and stronger impact power. That would be my answer.
Yeah, because when you look at the continent and the challenges here, the young people seem to be at the heart of bearing the brunt of the issues here. If you talk about security, instability caused by lack of peace, and some of these challenges, young people are at the forefront dealing with these issues. And it's quite important to get them also be involved as part of the solution. I'd like you to speak to that and the work that you're doing.
No, absolutely. I believe this is really the importance of the Youth Peace and Security Agenda that was the resolution in 2015, because young people today, especially African youth, actually are using this Youth Peace and Security Agenda as a tool to make sure that they are not only included in the peace and security efforts, but they are at the center of it. That means that they participate in the decision making, they participate in the design of the ideas. They also say, do not make us just included or consulted with in the peace and security efforts, but make us contributors, make us leaders, make us initiators. So young people today are asking to be equal leaders and meaningful leaders in the peace and security fields, and they ask to be really as a huge part of these peace processes. And this is really showcasing with the rise of national coalition on youth peace and security in African countries like Nigeria, Kenya, Somalia, DRC, and others. And also that many of these African countries are developing national action plan on youth peace and security. So there is no longer the let's say, the conception that young people are only victims, but now they are perceived as leaders, and they are really becoming the missing piece in the puzzle where they need to be in there at the center.
Yeah, because in the past 3 days now, quite a lot has been said in this forum about building resilience for the forum. And I'm trying to imagine the work that you're doing. What are you taking back from the conversations here to apply into the work that you're doing?
I think it was really a good moment to get another perspective. You know, civil society organizations in working on peace building have their own language, they have their own vocabulary. And it was quite interesting to meet with private sector investors and financial institutions to make them include in our work, to, you know, like the idea also of networks, that it should not only be networks of civil society, also private sector can play a role as members or as mentors and help these groups and these networks form a business case. So it was an important exchange to see how the private sector think of investment in youth-led peace building. And what I'm going to take with me is especially that we foster more of this intergenerational dialogue, that youth-led peace building organization actors sit more with the private sector, and the private sector also sit more so they can learn from each other. Definitely we can learn more about the business model and how to do return on investment, how to make a peace bond, and the private sector can learn from the youth what are the peace priorities and how can they create bigger outcomes from smaller resources. So this would be definitely, even for us as MENA Coalition Youth Peace and Security, we are already starting to think of creating a working group to really work on the finance for peace, or the private sector investment in youth-led peace building in the Middle East and North Africa.
Yeah, because it's quite a lot when you talk about, when you make financing the core of conversations around this very complex nexus of peace, security, and development, and looking at how young people are situated on the continent. The projection of young people to grow on the continent is still quite much, and people are talking about the democratic dividend, whether we're going to allow this to become a problem or it's going to be a huge opportunity for the continent. And getting the buy-in from investors, private sectors, it means new innovation, new innovative models of financing will definitely have to come up. And I can imagine that young people have some exciting ideas.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, these insights come a lot in our recent report that we launched of investing and partnership with youth for peace, and it has been considered and also discovered that there are some stories to build on, right? Like there are some stories where the private sector actually invested in some youth-led initiatives, maybe humanitarian related, education related, or health related. Some of them are actually directly to peace building. So it was important to make the case to not see this as, let's say, sensitive, to, let's say, invest directly in youth-led peace building activities like community dialogue, youth participation in politics, strengthening the governance and justice system, but to see all of this as opportunity, because young people have access to local communities, they have a strong mobilization power, and they can create great big things only with small resources. And investment in directly peace building activity lead to better governance, lead to better economic reforms, lead to less and lower cost of conflict, stability. So the private sector can actually benefit from this even more than the citizen if there are these factors and they are happening. So now it's really to make the case, let's invest more in direct youth-led peace building that are locally led and locally owned by the communities.
I can imagine really inspired there, hearing you say these words there for young people who can do quite a lot for the continent. Sarra Messaoudi there, the regional coordinator for the MENA Coalition on Youth, Peace and Security, talking about the youth angles in solving some of the challenges we're seeing for peace positive investments on the continent.